ESPN, for the most part, does not want to talk about this issue. Do you agree?
Now, I don't want to speak because I haven't watched ESPN. How much have they covered it so far? What have they talked about?
The first 2 weeks, they were pretty darn silent. They said very little. And tell me if you think this is suspicious or not. I'd love an answer from you out of this. When they finally did write a big story about it, this was the story that we learned Dianna Russini on Easter was having phone calls with crisis communication experts. This was the story that we learned a few things about. That story they released on a Friday night to their writer's Twitter account, who's a brand new writer and had 8,000 followers. That's odd to me.
Yeah.
And their account has 50 million followers and they didn't retweet it. So what it seemed like to me, in my opinion, is that ESPN was getting a lot of heat from people like myself saying ESPN's not touching this story. ESPN doesn't want to talk about this story because ESPN is 10% owned by the NFL. And Dianna Russini used to work from ESPN from 2015 to 2023. So ESPN was like, okay, we wrote it. We wrote a story. They wanted to check that box, but didn't want to amplify the story. And the last thing I'll say on this, Babz, that story ended up getting, the last time I looked, 2.2 million views. You and I have had tweets with more than 2.2 million views.
Yeah.
I've had tweets on this story with more than that. How did I beat ESPN in this case? That makes no sense. ESPN could kick my ass. I'm a nobody. Okay? I think ESPN didn't want to amplify this story. And that is, in my opinion, probably why they put that story out on their writer's Twitter account with 8,000-ish followers. Do you agree that that's...
Yeah, no, I agree. It's really iffy of why they don't want to cover it. And this is like probably a whole different topic, but something along the lines of social media is how we digest things nowadays anyways. And it's just weird that, say, some of these big leagues like the ESPNs don't want to touch it. So Mike Felger here in Boston, he works for 985 The Sports Hub. He was going in about the Boston Herald not covering this story, right? And not putting this out there. But nobody reads fucking newspapers anymore. I think, the main thing is through social media. Social media, you don't have to be a mega journalist. You can have someone that's 200 followers. You can get a lot of traction. It is interesting to see why that ESPN is not covering it, whether they're told by the NFL to not talk about it or not.